Happy New Year, everyone. I'm feeling a lot better, and we ended up getting our guest room back. So, as you can see, I've been doing some summer, not summer, some spring cleaning in January. I think everyone usually takes this time to reset and clean or deep clean anything that was left over from last year that they just want to be a better steward of. So, for that, in my house is my doll collection. I have a family, and so it's very hard not to make your house into a museum when you actually have people who function and live within the house. So, I try very hard to keep my doll collection in certain areas so that they don't uh, end up in different rooms, or the dolls don't end up in the study or the library like they have been over the past holiday season. So I'm going to be better about that this year, as far as organization is concerned. But when it comes to storage, I shared with you guys in my last video, or my last two videos, that I found these storage boxes at Home Goods, and you guys know about these two boxes right here and the symbolism behind why I ended up getting them. Not only did I want to store my son's baby clothes in them originally, I thought, well, if I ever find any more, I would really like to store some of my Ashton Drake doll clothes or baby clothes in these boxes to pass down to my future grandchildren. Hopefully, I do have some in the future. I think that's what everyone really wants, is to see their family expand in the right direction. So, and I love babies, especially my own. So, when it comes to this little guy right here, he is an Ashton Drake doll under the model name Michelle, but to personalize him for my personal collection, I renamed him Talbot for those of you who are new to my channel. But getting back to these storage boxes, my youngest really enjoyed the story Magic Hat. And so when I would read this book to him, the illustrations just seemed to pop for us, and we were most drawn to the illustrations. So these illustrations on the box were very magical to me, and they reminded me of the story Magic Hat, to the point where when I went to Home Goods the other day just to see what they had left over for Christmas, I ended up finding a smaller version of the same box. And you guys would never believe that I looked on a lower shelf and there it was. And I usually don't like to look down low when I go into stores, but something just told my eye to just check out the bottom shelves, and there this box was. And I instantly remembered the baby infant-like illustration with the colorful balloons and the stars. The only problem was that when I asked the manager if they had any more out back, he was like, no, we put everything out on the floor. That we get as far as inventory, nothing stays in the back for long, is what he said. So I was kind of disappointed because it had like a little bit of a rift or tear in the back. And because of that, he saw that I was kind of really struggling and to debate whether I wanted to buy this or not. And I told him how I found two larger boxes in the store a couple weeks ago, and this one really caught my eye, and I really want to purchase it, but I just don't know about this rift. And so he basically gave me $2 off of it. It was already $8. So I only paid $6 for this box. But I feel like the long-term investment in these boxes are really going to pay off, because when it comes to storage and everything being uniform, I'm really a stickler for matching things that either go together in color or that are uniform. And even when it comes to decorating my home, so that my family feels comfortable in it and within it, I try very hard not to be meticulous about every little detail of the house, just so people can function properly within the house, because that's what a home is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a place where your heart is and a place where everyone can feel comfortable. So when it comes to my doll collection, I really try to make sure that my storage is on point, just so that I'm not infringing on anyone else's hobbies or likes. You know, the last thing they want to see is my doll collection just becoming immense and out of control. So I really feel like these boxes are going to help me as the months go on. So, keeping up with my doll collection, I moved this beach house out of my son's room because it really is his beach house. But as he's starting to outgrow it, I am trying to make good use of it and how I want to use it for my doll collection. So, in uniform fashion, I try to decorate everything, and that's exactly what I did with this beach house. I basically took little things from Target that they had in their dollar corner or dollar spot, and I just decorated this house for the holiday season. There's a place in the beach house where you can store silverware and things like that, but it's out in the open, and I wanted like a little curtain just to cover all of that clutter up in the beach house, because it can look rather cluttery. And I've noticed that when other people want to disguise things and they don't have a door in their home, they usually use a cloth like curtain or drapery. And so I went to a place like Joann's Fabrics or Michael's or any craft store, really, Hobby Lobby, to get fabric like this. And even though it's like a little truck with pumpkins in it, I really felt like it would work all year round. And I was a little concerned about switching it out during the seasons, but I really do feel like this goes well with the beach house. So I think I'm going to keep it annually. And so, if you do look in the beach house, you can see things like Be Jolly and my Pottery Barn Santa cups on the shelves. You can see what I joke about to my husband. I always say this is like the KFC Santa, Colonel Sanders. And you know the Colonel Sanders, like when I think about the Kentucky Fried Chicken recipe, I almost wonder, like, okay, where did you really get that recipe? But that's kind of like the running joke in my family when we see Colonel Sanders, the icon for KFC. And so when I saw that Santa pick that Target had for this year in their dollar spot section, my husband and I, we chuckled over it because it was just so funny. I decided to use some command hooks just to kind of decorate the beach house a little bit more. Like, this is a fall sign on the other side. It says something about fall, but when you turn it over, it has pumpkin pie baked fresh daily. And so, who doesn't like pumpkin pie? I like pumpkin pie any time of the year. So, I feel like this sign could even stay up throughout the winter season. When it comes to snow, we still get snow even though we're on the East Coast. And just because you live on or next to a beach or in driving distance from the coast or the beach, that doesn't mean that you don't experience any kind of wintry weather. So I do feel like these pillows, the horse-drawn sleigh rides, does fit a little beach cottage like this. So I am going to leave the pillows on the sofa. If anything, I'm going to obviously take down the Be Jolly, the Santa mugs, the, Colonel Sanders Santa picture. and the Christmas tree. And this one came from the Walmart's My Life set. And then these faux presents came from Target Dollar Spot. So everything else is going to stay, like the doll spaghetti is going to stay because, again, I like to pretend that this is a functioning kitchen, especially with my son using it. And again, I added another hook in that corner to hang the fish. And this is another fall sign that has a fall theme on the back of this sign, but get it while it's hot. That could apply to coffee or cocoa any time of year. So I mean, not any time of year, but probably the winter especially. So it's going to stay for winter. And the trees and pine cone tins, that actually came from the Target Dollar Spot as well. So when you think about this beach house and how it functions really well for the dolls, throughout the season, if you live like somewhere in Louisiana, for the warm climate that you get throughout the winter season, you might hear that sound. Because it's near the beach, because this is like a little beach house cabin, you would probably hear the seagulls. Obviously, you would hear the splashing waves. And it does tend to rain if it's not snowing. So you could hear the rain occasionally. So I do like to play with the sounds when it comes to this beach house too. I have my two twin Our Generation dolls. There is my first doll, Cameron, and her dog, Coco, is tied up here in the beach house. So you guys can see that this hook also works well for tying up the dog so he can eat his breakfast in the kitchen without running off and getting into things. And this is my other doll that I got over Christmas, who is a twin. And I decided to name her Coco, and her dog is Cameron, named after her twin sister, Cameron. So the dolls themselves are Cameron and Coco. So that's how I solved that problem right there. The other thing you guys might be wondering is how you would incorporate Our Generation dolls and items with American Girl items. And because I'm a collector, I don't do anything else with my dolls but display them and change them seasonally. So what I have here is I have Rebecca, my doll from her collection. I think she is not 1904 because that's Samantha, but I believe she's like around 1914 or 1913. And this is my latest dog, Claudie. And so Claudie is a little bit bigger and taller, it looks like, than Rebecca, which is very interesting because they claim that these dolls are 18 inches. But my theory is that not all the dolls quite make the 18-inch mark, but that's just my opinion. So you guys can see the outside of the beach house and how Rebecca has her little luggage and she is ready to visit the beach house and do something festive in it, I suppose, since I also have her hutch in here. So I'll go over that in a minute. But because I talked about storage, this I got from Target, and I also use these boxes as storage too when it comes to my doll knickknacks. So when I saw this pattern, I thought, oh, this pattern is perfect for the little beach house. So once my son is done playing and interacting with the beach house, I will probably take it and add it to my doll collection. Where it's going to go, I have no idea because, again, this is the guest room. So eventually, I would like to think when we don't have guests, I could put the beach house on this dresser and it would be great with my doll display. But in the meantime, because we do have guests and I have a rather full house because I do have a family, I'm not really sure how I'm going to display this. It'll probably be a couple years before I have a chance to display it properly in this kind of room. So again, I'm going to redecorate this and using, some of the latest things that I bought. But again, I might incorporate some of the luggage that I'm pretending the storage boxes are for Rebecca, that she's come for like a little visit. And she's obviously going to use her hutch to make some maybe lobster bisque in this terrine, which comes from Caroline's collection, if you guys have the doll Caroline. And I brought out Claudie because I think Claudie would be a great addition too, because I can use some things for her from her bakery to also go into this kitchen. And because this has a lovely kitchen unit, so I think that would be great. It functions really well. So if you see here, all I have to do is hit that. The oven is a working oven for, my doll collection. It's not a real working oven, but you can put little faux cakes or, little things in there like you are baking. And again, I got this little thing from the Target dollar spot that came with like cute little sets that had these in it and Be Jolly. These are like little cookies on a cookie sheet. But I also thought if you're into pancakes, you could even pretend that this is like a skillet and you're preparing chocolate chip pancakes or blueberry pancakes on that as well. But for me, I think it looks better as chocolate chip cookies. So let's go ahead and change out the beach house for the winter months and take down some of the holiday stuff now that the holidays are over. Okay, sorry about that. I had something in mind, but I just couldn't find it, and I hate when that happens. So many things get moved around in with my doll stuff just because I have other people interacting with it. But this was something I ended up getting from the Target, the hot cocoa, and I think it's really great to replace some of the Christmas items. This one back here, this little item also came from the dollar spot. Mini sets. It says, I just want to bake cookies and drink hot cocoa. So I had something that you